Right, I realise in 2017 with Trump at the big red button, the phrase atomic blonde is probably about to take on a whole new meaning. But for now, or at least until Trump and Kim Bo-un decide to pull their dicks out again and start having another pissing contest, let's talk about the Charlize Theron one. Put them away, lads, you're both as small as each other. Atomic Blonde stars Charlize Theron as an MI6 agent in Berlin at the fall of the Berlin Wall. She's sent to recover it. Nah, you know what? Screw it. I can't stand that jingly jangly, I'm a family friendly YouTuber music that's always playing in the background, so let's cut that. This film loves being set in the 80s, so let's get something at least a little bit 80s inspired, eh? So Atomic Blonde stars Charlize Theron as an MI6 spy in Berlin round about the time of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Armed with an endless collection of hangover sunglasses that would give Baby Driver a run for his money, she's tasked with retrieving a list of undercover agents that's gone missing. And that may be the same plot device as Skyfall, but that's fine as it's just a MacGuffin, and let's face it, an effective one, because you know full well without it needing to be explained that if that list gets in the wrong hands, everyone's fucked. But that's not all, just about every other Secret Service is after the list, and MI6 has a double agent selling secrets, so not exactly a chilled out weekend. Charlize Theron is undeniably a complete and utter badass. If Mad Max Fury Road hadn't done it already, Atomic Blonde confirms her as an action star. She shoots, kicks, punches and body slams her way through swathes of men that would give James Bond a run for his money. In fact, I have to commend the stunt team on being absolutely outstanding and pretty much the best thing in the movie. They carry out some excellent bone-crunching stunts and often feel like formidable opponents for Theron's character and not just throwaway henchmen like you might find in another spy movie. The stunts and even just the general stakes are helped hugely by some really energetic direction from director David Leitch. I really wanted to avoid any and all comparison with John Wick as they are two completely separate entities, and I'm pretty sure I've heard John Wick mentioned literally every single time Atomic Blonde is brought up. But the stylistic similarities between the two are unavoidable, and when I was reading up on Atomic Blonde after seeing it, I was like, that makes sense, because David Leitch is actually one of the co-directors of John Wick, and this is his first solo directorial credit, so Atomic Blonde does come across a bit like a John le Carre John Wick, but one in which Keanu Reeves is a Sports Illustrated cover model. Clearly, action is Leitch's forte, and he's created some excellent sequences to be proud of. One fight in particular takes place in a stairwell, and it plays out like a single take, which lasts about a week and a half. It then continues out onto the street and into a car chase, very much like Children of Men or The Raid 2. It does have a lot of whip pans and goes through doors and stuff, so I'm pretty sure it's not actually one single take, but if it is, holy shit. That scene is going to go down as one of the all-time best action scenes of the modern era. I guarantee it. There's plenty of inventive action throughout, things like using household items to fling yourself off a building, jabbing a guy with keys in your hand, and using a saucepan to rearrange an entire room full of guys' faces, making it the most brutal thing a pot has been used for since my cooking. Leitch keeps his camera fairly far away from the actors during the fights, and I'm a big fan of that. I'm glad he didn't go with that style of wildly flailing camera and rapid editing that's all too common these days. Charlize Theron and the stunt performers around her are all very talented, so there's absolutely no need to cover up a lack of skill with like ADHD editing, and there's a lot to be said for how much it actually helps to draw you into the story when you can watch a scene and go, oh, that is actually Charlize Theron giving those guys a doing. The editor also makes really good use of things like speed ramping and dropping frames to really sell the violence of the fights. The movie's clearly going for a very contemporary look to it. At times it's absolutely drenched in that punky, bubblegum pink and blue neon style that seems to be all the rage in modern action movies. Most of the time though it has a very cold, desaturated colour palette full of greys and muddy blues, which is much more expected of the setting and subject matter. There are scenes that are almost monochrome, and especially at the beginning, the framing is almost noirish at times. It was a very appealing, if somewhat inconsistent look. And another way the movie racks up style points is in its use of music. Mostly diegetic, the soundtrack is this great mix of blaring 80s pop and a dark, dramatic score from Tyler Bates full of synthy pounding drum beats. The 80s soundtrack makes for some interesting musical choices that could potentially clash with as opposed to positively subvert the tone of what you're seeing on the screen. I didn't know it until now, but my life needed a scene of somebody getting their head kicked into Nina's 99 Red Love Belongs. But Which idiot arranged an 80s soundtrack for a movie called Atomic Blonde and didn't include Atomic by Blondie? It's a good thing that Atomic Blonde has such energetic visuals and music, as unfortunately it does need something to divert your attention from the lackluster story. There are certain tropes that you expect from a spy movie, complexity being one of them, but Atomic Blonde is needlessly overcomplicated in a way that's detrimental. Things like intricate plans and double crossing are to be expected, but Atomic Blonde goes a bit off the rails and is like, they're a triple agent, they're a quadruple agent, they're a 5 agent, they're an infinity plus 1 name take backsies agent. It's not satisfying, it actually feels more like a needless flourish intended to pull the rug out from under your feet just because they can. We don't get to learn much about the characters, and I certainly didn't feel enough of an affinity to any of them to particularly want to see them succeed in their goals. I didn't even know where the goals were most of the time. Once the plot is over and the credits roll, when you think back on it, some of the characters make some truly illogical moves and their motivations remain very unclear. An argument could be made for saying that's an intentional move to reflect the nature of being a spy and the life of somebody in espionage, and I'd agree, but that doesn't mean it's compelling to watch. In the end, Atomic Blonde has the potential to be a remarkable modern spy thriller, but is let down by a dull and confusing plot. Now, that could be as a result of the graphic novel it's based on. I've never read it, and for all I know, the movie follows it to a T, and if that is the case, there's not much they can do about it. However, it does have some excellent action scenes, and that stairwell fight alone is well worth the ticket price. I'm giving Atomic Blonde 3 popcorns. Thanks very much for watching my review of Atomic Blonde. If you liked it, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and maybe consider subscribing if you're new. If you want more Charlize Theron action movie reviews, click that box right there to see my review of Fate of the Furious, or you can click that box for a playlist of all my latest reviews. If you and your friend are thinking of seeing Atomic Blonde, maybe share this video with them, see if that helps you out. But again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.